Local and state leaders about a promise Governor Gavin Newsom made more than a year ago that hasn't yet come to fruition. 1,200 so-called tiny homes or sleeping cabins spread across our 4 cities statewide, including here in Sacramento. Today, not one of those cabins is up and running. Becca Hobegger explains.
You want to see progress, and you want to see it now.
In March of 2023, Governor Gavin Newsom announced a plan to give 4 cities sleeping cabins totaling 1,200 beds, 500 to Los Angeles, 200 to San Jose, 150 to San Diego County, and 350 to Sacramento. But more than a year later, not a single one is even installed, let alone providing transitional housing to the homeless population they're meant to serve. That's according to an investigation by the nonpartisan nonprofit news organization Cal Matters.
It's, again, a matter of the delivery of the homes from the various manufacturers.
That was Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg back in October, announcing 175 of Sacramento's allotted 350 beds would be installed on this site at 6810 Stockton Boulevard.
Look at this old property and look at what it is going to become.
In March of this year, the state broke ground at this site. Here's how it looks today. It will become an emergency shelter and service campus offering 175 beds using those sleeping cabins promised by the governor. But those cabins aren't in place yet, as you can see, and this site, according to Cal Matters, is the farthest along of all 4 cities' projects. It's set to open in the fall. The remainder of Sacramento's 175 beds are planned for this site at 4837 Watt Avenue. A county spokesperson tells ABC 10 the Watt site is currently in the programming and design phase, which means we're drafting up exactly what it will look like and what services will be offered there. It is slated to open end of 2025. Cal Matters reports in October the state selected 6 companies to manufacture the sleeping cabins, so why aren't they up and running yet? A spokesperson for the State Department of General Services tells ABC 10, although these are small homes, they're still basically houses and require many of the connectivity and foundation work needed with many other structures. That work requires careful design and construction, plus close coordination with our local partners. All of that takes time. Without setting such an ambitious goal, we would not be as far along as we are today, and Sacramento has made the most progress ahead of all other participating communities. Of the 1,200 promised beds, only 155 sleeping cabins have been purchased so far. Some of them are double occupancy, so that makes a total of 175 beds, and they're going on this site, with delivery expected to begin in June. A spokesperson for the Department of General Services tells ABC 10 focusing solely on timelines diminishes the hard work of numerous individuals dedicating to providing much-needed housing.
All right, I want to bring in Becca Hobegger, who, of course, has been following this for us. And I want to talk about costs because the state is investing $80 million into this project, right?
Right, and about $23 million of that is going to Sacramento. Now, Cap Radio, which also published an investigation yesterday, reported the Stockton Boulevard project is estimated to cost $22.5 million. That leaves about $800,000 to buy the other 175 tiny homes. And with each unit costing a minimum of $100,000 to stand up, the money likely won't go far. Now, the state tells me that's because Sacramento asked to use their money to further build out the emergency shelter and services site at Stockton Boulevard beyond just the purchase of those sleeping cabins. So whatever's left over will be put toward the Watt Avenue site.
And we know that you have a lot of questions at home, so we will continue to follow this.
Before coming here 3 years ago, she spent years cycling in and out of jail as she struggled with addiction.
Life before here, before Fortune Society, for me, was hell. It was nothing but darkness. Since I've been here, I've been drug-free, and I don't ever want to turn back to that life.
That life is how many end up here, sleeping in subways and living on the street. And with scenes like this becoming more common in cities across the country, elected officials have been calling for drastic action.
My first act as mayor will be to declare a state of emergency on homelessness.
From Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. to New York.
Here in New York, the mayor has called for more aggressive policing of the subways, forcibly removing people with obvious signs of mental illness or drug addiction and taking them to the hospital. But advocates for the homeless say treatment alone won't be enough.
Stanley Richards helped establish Castle Gardens, the complex where Helen lives.
You have to have places for them to go. And when they get on their medication and they stabilize, they need a safe home to go to. They need to be part of a community.
All of the units here are affordably priced with mental health and addiction services offered on site. Over half of the tenants here are formerly incarcerated, and many are employed in the building.
3, 2, 1.
New York officials who broke ground on 326 more affordable units earlier this year admit thousands more are needed. But attempts to build on another site have been met with resistance by neighbors who, at this community meeting, expressed concerns about their safety or property values. Still, advocates say there's evidence such facilities benefit the entire community.
The alternative is jail or prison or rotating from emergency rooms to jail cells. The alternative is humanly damaging and inordinately expensive. So it's a cost-effective intervention for the minority of people who can't live effectively on their own.
New York officials have acknowledged meeting the demand will be difficult, and even if successful, for many, it will be too late.
My daughter's unconscious.
It's the sound of sheer panic.
How old is she?
16. Sophia! Sophia! She's on her back. Please hurry.
Got them on the way.
It was a quiet afternoon near Boulder, Colorado, when Ryan Christoph finds his then 16-year-old daughter, Sophia, barely breathing.
I'm pushing on her chest and it's making some noise, but she's unconscious.
Okay,
and
is she laying flat on her back?
Blue. She's on her back on her bed.
Listen carefully and I'm going to tell you how to do chest compressions.
Within minutes, Sergeant David Cohen with the Lafayette, Colorado Police Department pulls up.
I'm in the count with you, okay? So try and go with the pace I'm counting, okay? Keep up with that pace if you can, okay?
I'm responding with an AED.
Hold on, I think it might be, hold on. Up here, up here!
Upstairs?
Cohen sprinting up the stairs and into Sophia's bedroom.
What is her name?
Sophia.
Let me take over CPR. Sir, does she use narcotics?
Sophia's father telling him he doesn't think so. He only knows of her smoking a little weed. But Officer Cohen's experience told him otherwise.
Lincoln 21, slight pulse, and Narcan administered.
As the approaching ambulance gets closer, the Narcan kicks in.
She's breathing? She's breathing, yes, sir.
Sophia had taken a Percocet that came from a drug dealer, not knowing it was laced with fentanyl, a synthetic opioid used to treat severe pain that is 50 times more powerful than heroin.
I'm bored in my room, and I notice, I have half this pill. Why not? Like, it'll make me cheer up. And I crushed it up, took a line, felt kind of sparkly for 2 seconds, and then I woke up in the hospital.
Where do you think you would be now had you not overdosed?
I think I could have been in a worse spiral. Or, as far as I know, I could have been dead. I could have been struggling. But I think that I'm grateful for it.
From coast to coast in every corner of the U.S., deaths from fentanyl overdoses are soaring. More than 100,000 people died from drug overdoses in a 12-month period ending in October of 2021. Recent CDC data revealing 2/3 of those deaths are linked to fentanyl, and those deaths doubling over the past 2 years.
There's no question in my mind that the vast majority of chemicals are coming from China and going to Mexico and being mass produced into fentanyl, into methamphetamine, and increasingly into the counterfeit pills that we see on our streets.
And fentanyl is sometimes mixed in other illicit drugs, heroin, meth, and cocaine. It's a cheap, higher high, but also can be a lethal combination.
A tense scene in Wilton Manors. Multiple spring breakers overdosing, rushed to the hospital. The culprit, first responders say, drugs laced with fentanyl.
When I found out that he was doing fentanyl, every day I didn't know, if I was going to get that call.
He was living life loving it. It's heavy. It's heavy right now.
Users often have no idea.
She supposedly had taken a Percocet, and that Percocet later, was laced with fentanyl. And that took her life.
This is an epidemic that's been hidden by the pandemic, and we need more attention paid to this issue.
After everything Sophia Kristoff and her dad have been through, playing softball together is familiar and comfortable.
That was awesome.
A reminder of a simpler time. Now in her junior year, Sophia looks forward to taking the field with her team next season.
She loves going to games and she loves playing. I do too, and it's good. It's really grateful that we've been able to have that to bond over and spend time together.
But through her sophomore year, Sophia was hiding a secret from her father.
What did your dad know about what was going on?
He knew I was smoking weed sometimes.
So he had no idea.
And I think that's part of that is because it all happened so fast.
In the span of just 1 year, she started experimenting with a long list of drugs. She was suspended from school, and her grades fell.
Cocaine, Xanax, ketamine ones, acid, shrooms, Adderall.
So
just
pill
pills.
in the pill.
Yeah, just like everything I
things
could
like
get
that.
my hands on.
I felt stupid that I should have known, especially with my own history. And it's not like I think, oh, she's terrible because she did those things, or my girl would never do that. I just didn't think she was doing that.
And these are all plugs that I bought from before.
Sophia says buying drugs is as easy as sending the right emoji to a so-called plug, a dealer who finds customers on apps like Snapchat.
I'm looking for a little plug emoji or like a fire emoji or just whatever emoji the normal dealers I have. They're like, yo, hit my line for gas. And then you're like, yo, you got whatever, like slang terms for whatever.
And it can happen that fast, just by communicating on Snapchat and by searching with the right emoji.
If you know where to go, it's really easy.
It's a terrifying new playbook for drug dealing. Now so common, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency releasing this cheat sheet for parents and guardians, showing the emojis commonly used to buy drugs on social media.
I cannot emphasize enough how deadly this drug is to human life, especially to unsuspecting youth in our community. These pills are widely available and are often sold for dollars a piece on social media.
And pictures showcasing how counterfeit pills they've seized from drug dealers look eerily similar to the real medications doctors prescribe. Just days ago, Snapchat issuing a statement detailing their efforts to flush out drug-related content and announcing steps to curb illegal activity, saying they have zero tolerance for the promoting of illegal drugs on their platform. 20 miles south of Lafayette, Denver, Colorado Police Chief Paul Pazin feels like he's at war.
I get daily reports of suspected individuals who have passed away as a result of fentanyl overdoses.
Every day you're hearing of deaths?
That's somebody's family that has just been devastated by fentanyl, by this very deadly drug. We have a situation where a father lost 2 sons on the exact same day from a fentanyl overdose.
The ripple effect, cannot be denied of what happens, especially when we have kids dying at school, passing out in the bathrooms. What are you seeing as the biggest problem when it comes to the actual ingestion of fentanyl?
Folks think that this might be something else that they're ingesting. So bringing awareness to this issue that that pill may not be Percocet, that pill may not be Xanax, that pill may contain fentanyl and potentially could be deadly is critical. It's so cheap, it's so easy to move, it's so addictive for the end user. We are going to need everybody coming together as a country, as a state, federal, state, local law enforcement.
Colorado's House of Representatives introducing a bill last month to enact stiffer criminal penalties on those involved with the sale and distribution of fentanyl.
Is there an end in sight?
I'm not seeing that end. I'm seeing this issue getting worse. I'm seeing more and more people dying as a result of this issue. We need to do something about this immediately.
Officers, like Sergeant David Cohen, are on the front lines day after day. And this time, he saved Sophia from becoming yet another statistic.
When did it become clear to you that it was an overdose?
I don't know if it ever became clear to me until I administered Narcan and it worked. Between training and experience and being able to look around the room and seeing miscellaneous drug paraphernalia that goes a little bit above and beyond normal marijuana and alcohol use.
And so because of that, you knew to administer the Narcan?
Yes, ma'am. If it's not needed and you use it, it's going to do no harm.
Right.
If it's needed and you use it, it's only going to do good.
These kids are dying for one bad decision. And it almost happened to her. It's a hard time to be a parent of a teenager, and even harder to be a teenager.
With thousands of lives cut short by tainted drugs, Sophia is one of the lucky ones. But she still bears the weight of her brush with death.
That's been a very big part. Like the guilt that comes with I see firsthand the effects it had on everybody. Being here thinking like, damn, all these kids are out here overdosing and never coming back. And I'm the one that came back. Like, why me? So I'm just trying to have the mindset that I'm here and I was a lucky one and I gotta make it worth it.
This is what's in the box. There's 2 of these.
Her father, Ryan, now on a mission to educate teens and parents on the dangers of dabbling in drug use.
If someone were to watch this video, what do you want them to know, and what do you want them to take away from it?
First of all, I want them to know more about Sophia than just this video. And that's a moment in her life, but that's not who she is. I would want people to see that it can happen to even someone like Sophia, even their daughter, even their son, even people you think is the least likely to happen to. It can happen.